Got everything disconnected here. All we have left to do is pull the head bolts, and then the 2-valve head will be off this one. We get it swapped over with the new 4-valve. I might get a little Harbor Freight run in the middle of swapping the head. I ran out of gloves, and I'm tired of not being able to find a complete set of screwdrivers in Dad's toolbox. So I'm gonna pick up some gloves for me and get him another set of screwdrivers. Picked up some screwdrivers and a long 3/8 flex head ratchet for Dad. Gonna take these back and surprise him. 2-valve heads off. So now we get to swap everything over from this one onto the 4-valve. And get the 4-valve sat back up on the motor. We got the new tires. 4 brand new 12R 22.5s. A little more height on the back should give them a little more highway speed.
The stress needs to come off of the head to get the right angle. Is the front's lower than the back.
Yeah, so
from the end,
yeah,
raise the front.
it's trying to raise the whole thing.
Come over.
Just snugging down a couple of the bolts real quick so the head will be seated and lock the head gasket in. When you first set one of these heads on a 2-stroke, you really need to just snug up a couple bolts to make sure you got the head clamped all the way down, because that perimeter gasket will always fight you and try to roll out of there, and if it does, you're gonna have a massive oil leak from it. Got the head bolts down and torqued. Running up the exhaust manifold studs right now, or the nut in the exhaust manifold. Got Dad's new long 3/8 out with his new Craftsman sockets on it. Alright, so the head's all torqued down, exhaust manifold's on. I've got the coolant manifold back on the top. I got the bolts in the back side since Dad struggles putting blind bolts in. It's just easier for me to do it than to watch. Why do I smell starting fluid?
So I was just gonna ask what I smell.
I'm pretty sure I smell ether. Alright, well we just randomly smell ether, that's cool. But yeah, so the top end is all bolted back in. It still needs injectors in the rack, ran, set valves and all that stuff. But I have something else I have to go do today. So this is all stuff Dad can get taken care of. Worst case, I'll be back out tomorrow to give him a hand after I get done with the job I'm doing in the morning. But 4-valve head's on. So just one step closer to getting the turbo set up on this bus done. You ready?
Yeah, don't run me over.
So right now, sitting in there, those are our 11R 22.5s. And these are the 12R 22.5s that are going to be going on there. Well, the job I was supposed to go do, the guy wasn't there and wasn't answering his phone. So I'm back. Apparently just in time to rotate the engine over so he can set valves and the injectors. Should have waited a little longer. Alright, well we just had a little bit of a scare here. Dad's been setting overhead on it, so I am going with a pry bar through this inspection cover here and turning the flywheel over. Ow, just hit myself with a pry bar. Anyway, I got the first one set. I worked on the second one and it starts bouncing back, and we're thinking that we might have something wrong, that a valve might be hitting a piston or something wrong that we have to take the head back off for. Well, Dad just thinks, hey, I wonder if I left the bus in gear when I parked it. So the turn that I got was all the slop between the input shaft, the gears in the trans, the drive shaft, the pinion, axle shafts. So I figured that we've got about 6 teeth here of travel, which is the play in the drive line. But we got it figured out now and the engine turns over great. That sucked.
Shit happens.
Alright, all the crossovers are in, the rack is on. Everything is adjusted. The governor's hooked back up. Getting ready to put the alternator on and get the wiring taken care of. But we've got a storm coming.
Oh.
What?
Toilets?
What?
Toilet guy?
Yeah, they're always covered in black stuff. I don't know what the hell you do. But yeah, this bus is like attracting rain every time it comes to Indiana. So we've got less than an hour until it's going to start storming. So we're going to see how close we can get to getting it done. He thinks we're going to have it done. I don't think we will. So we're setting the rack right now, running these down until they go all the way in, and as soon as they get in, it just barely gets tension, and when it hits, you can see it kind of jiggle the rest of them. So you go till it just gets in, and you tighten down the adjuster. So a quick tip for you guys here. So we've got a little bit of oil on top of the coolant. It's been sitting for a few days, so it'll separate. So what you do is you take a red shop towel like that, just lightly tap it down on top of the water, but you don't want to sink it in. Just let it sit on top. And then if you want to go ahead and just lift that up real quick, Dad. You see all the oil is really stuck to that rag and it pulls it off the top of the coolant. These red shop towels suck at taking up water, but they take up oil really well. So take a clean rag real quick and do this on top of your coolant, and that'll get the oil on top of it off. Alright, hang on. So we've got coolant in it. Hang on. Oh, there. You grab that hammer, just fell. Anyway, we've got coolant in it. Setting the bumper back on. We still need to do the breather. We need to do a couple small adjustments, and then we'll be done. You gotta set the idle screw back.
Well, yeah, I'll do that once I get ready to start it. I'm gonna have to get this on bolt and fix that.
Yeah, we have a small bolt we gotta fit in there. We got 2 plugs that need to go back in the head over here. But no, storm's here.
Yeah,
so we missed it by about probably half an hour. Another half hour we would have had it done. Well, like I said, we missed it by just a little bit, but it's about ready to start. He has less than a half hour worth of work to do, so he'll knock that out tomorrow. But it's raining, so I'm done for the day. Time to go home and get cleaned up.